so long since we've had a normal MinkLife Motivation live show. And so I just feel like it's time for us to catch up. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to catch up on what's happening around the MinkLife Motivation Live community and what's going on, what's next for all of us. Let's get started. All right. So joining me today is the lovely, amazing the Joy Igniter.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Oh, I must have
Awesome. Okay, so it's a new year. We haven't had MinkLife Motivation Live in a while, and we have been through so many changes. So today, that's exactly what we're going to talk about is change and how these changes have been affecting us. So if you are watching the show today and you want to jump in on the conversation, by all means, leave a message in the comments and we will put it right across the stream just like this so that you can join in the conversation with us. Basically, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Since the last time I think they saw you, but things have changed.
Oh, lots of things have changed.
Yeah, lots of things have changed. And so basically help us understand what is your new passion right now? How are you creating impact in the world right now?
Oh, man. Well, you know what? They want to say once a teacher, always a teacher. And I have been running away from teaching for the last couple of years when it just kept dawning on me, like, why am I running away from what I'm truly called to do, which is work with the youth? It's always been natural for me. It's been comfortable for me. And now, I've switched my focus on dealing with alcoholics and addicts to working with high achieving young adults to prevent them from going through the same pits and shitfalls that I went through as an adult. So I had to dissect my life backwards to realize that a lot of my shit happened way back in high school. The alcohol was like the most recent addiction, but high school students are my new passion now. Just helping them create their own life, give them the power they might know they have so they can oh my God, just really create a life meant for themselves. So that's one major shift for me.
Yeah, I luckily have been on this journey with you, and that was not an easy journey at all. But when you finally landed in this place, it did feel like you were almost coming back home.
Yeah.
In some ways, it was like, oh, you're back home.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a roundabout journey, and we'll get into that a little bit today. And basically, what has been happening with me is for those of you who don't know, I have been really focused on getting to the point in which I can retire this year. And retirement for me does not look the same as it looks like for anyone else, right? So I'm not actually interested in laying on a beach and knitting and spending my time, bird watching necessarily as my retirement activities, but really kind of focusing my attention and time on impact work. And there are three basic areas that I am excited to spend the rest of my life. I call it my legacy era of my career, right? Where I'm doing things for the benefit of when I'm gone, I will have put my flag in the floor and said, Monica was here and I made a change in this way. And one of the areas is with the same, grouping that Yo is working with young people from 12 to 24, kind of helping them with leadership and entrepreneurship and self-worth. And so we've been collaborating on a project that we're going to be unveiling very soon. I'm so excited to share with you about that project. And then also, I really kind of thought I really want to do something about poverty and homelessness. And realized when dissecting that it really comes down to people who are institutionalized, not having a plan on what happens after they leave the institution, and not being able to cope with those things. And so that is an area that I kind of wanted to focus on. And so I was thinking of working with people who are transitioning out of the military, transitioning out of group homes, transitioning out of incarceration, as a kind of like grassroots way of being able to support those who are at high risk of becoming a part of the homeless population. Which, living in downtown LA, it's in front of my face every single day. And then the last bit that I'm, so excited that we're like moving in to is working with sustainability projects, and figuring out how we can live on Earth for forever, or at least as long as I'm meant to live on this earth. I want to make sure that it is a safe and healthy place for us to live, and that we are working in harmony with the earth. And so I am excited to work with some of the collaborations that we've started in that area as well, with working with sustainability projects and working with people who are in rural and indigenous communities. And so that all has like been on my list of things to do come May, and we have been actively working in that space for since May, and there's been so much development in that space. So the question I have for you,
Yeah.
so why are you passionate about helping these young people? Like, I know you were kind of thrown in this direction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, in with two catalysts, right? One being, how did I become an alcoholic in the first place?
Right.
And two, I've been working with these kids for my whole life, and I know how to work with them. But like, why is this change that you're getting ready to create? Like, why is that important to move forward with?
Oh man, it finally gives me, people always say, like, once you know your purpose, oh, what's your purpose? What's your why? And now those foundational pieces to build from, it gave me that. It's giving me that. It's giving me that excitement to want to be in front of this computer for hours and work on something. It's giving me that mojo to want to get up in the morning and be like, ooh, who do I get to meet today? And how can I make a difference? And I've been wanting that spark for a while. And like I
Yeah,
said at the beginning, I was running from it. So now having it and being able to hold on to it and like, nurture it, it's fulfilling. Lack of
yeah,
a summarization. It's just very fulfilling. So rewarding.
absolutely. I kind of feel the same way, right? Like, I have been running away from my business in some ways. Like, okay, like I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go and do the real important work. And what I didn't know was that the journey that I was on was actually preparing me for to have all the tools and the people and the resources and the community that is necessary to actually do the important work that I was preparing myself for. And it's really interesting how the universe kind of wove all those things in. I was learning to build the machine that I actually needed to use in order to kind of like create the change that I'm trying to seek in the world. And so
Yeah.
that has been kind of phenomenal.
Yeah. What are you most excited about now?
Um, Really, what I'm extremely excited about right
Yeah.
now is the fact that the community aspect has become its own beast.
Mhm. Yep.
um,
Yep. Yep.
Initially, right, when I built MinkLife Motivation, the only thing that I was actually interested in doing was I was really only interested in creating a program, right? Like, I was creating a program that people would use, that they would white label so that they could actually build their programs off of it. And then that would be kind of like financial stability enough for me to be able to fund the real dream of like making impact in the world in a huge way. And what has happened is accidentally creating a bunch of other things to go along with that coursework created all of the things that I need to create so that someone else can do it, but it's also so that I can do it myself
Mm-hmm.
for these new groups. And the community that this built accidentally is absolutely the most amazing group of people. We say all the time we live in a parallel universe
Yeah.
in
Wow.
our community.
I had a good reminder this morning.
We live in a parallel universe in the community because what I was creating with the way that I was creating Mink Life Motivation was a way in which people were getting help,
Mhm.
but not that someone's telling you what to do, right? But that you are driving your own mechanism and people were supporting you where you were, where you
Mhm.
are,
Mhm.
and where and they can kind of help you get to where you're trying to go. At the same time, you're able to actually do the same thing for them as well, right? So this like really true collaborative
Yeah. A lot of
experience.
reciprocity.
Yeah, where it's
The
no
mutual
one's the
exchange.
guru. We're
Mm-mm.
just in this together, making it happen. And that was the vision. But when you see that happen in real time and people are like saying out of their mouths the words that you were visioning the entire time,
Yeah.
that part is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's
That
so exciting.
confirmation. That confirmation is real. And I wouldn't be here where I am now if it weren't for the community that you're speaking of. Like it's a parallel universe. It's the kind of family that it's a truly self-created family. Like there's so much we all have alike, but yet so different. It's unexplainable. I can't even put it into words enough. But I'm grateful that I found it when I did, and I'm soaking all of it in.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't know that it was what I needed. But I guess when you follow like what feels good, right? Like when you
Mhm.
follow
Mhm.
like, well, I need this kind of support. So I think other people need this kind of support too. So maybe if I create a space in which the help I need is actually in the same place where someone else can have that help, that's what happens. And
Yeah.
so um Regina
Yeah.
Curtis came in with her community as the first big kind of collaborative move in, right? I mean, we had all of the amazing people who have been on, moderators on the show, and we were creating community with each other. And then what transpired was this next step of, well, we have a really awesome community. And I think there are other awesome communities too out there that would probably want to play with us. Let's see
Yeah.
what we can do. Right. And she came in, and I always say, I built a home, right? Like I literally built a structure
Mhm.
um, with windows and doors and floors and walls and a roof and plumbing and all of
And
the
yeah,
things,
yeah, the pipe and yeah.
the piping and electricity, all of the things. I built a building. And then she kind of came in and like helped me create a home for so many
I love
people
that.
who were in need of a different structure of learning,
Mhm.
right? Not this traditional, like you got to do this and then you got to do that and you have to do it my way. There's no other way for you to do it. And you have to pay a bazillion dollars in order to get any kind of help from me. And no, you can't access me whenever you want to. And no, you can't talk to the
Mm.
person who came up with the thought leadership. You got to talk to all of their under people first before you can get to that person. Like that structure of just, I call it like false celebrity, right?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
guruism
Mhm. Yeah.
that is kind of
Snowflake
like
syndrome. Yes.
happening all
Mhm.
over the place in different communities. And like that is one of the, I mean, I live in Los Angeles, and that's one of the things that bothers me is how people make celebrity out of people and then you put them on this pedestal. And once they're on that pedestal, they're not allowed to get off,
Mm.
right? Even if they're tired of sitting on that damn pedestal, even if they just want to take a break from sitting on the pedestal, if not, they just don't want to be seen for a little while,
Yeah.
like that pedestal is now their beautiful prison,
Prison.
right?
Yeah, prison. We said at the same time. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be one of those people because I didn't want to be in a beautiful prison. But I also felt like, well, if you need help and it's like a quick thing, like I can quickly help you do something, how can we create a structure so that you can just hurry up and get this help that you need and move the hell on instead of like, like, whoa, I got to go through this gatekeeper and
All
that
these
gatekeeper
channels and pits and everything.
channels and finding time on your calendar. Like, how can we get to a point where we can just be in the office
Yeah.
and like look over at someone else's cubicle and go, hey, I got this question really quick. Do you have time for it? And be able to do that, but virtually and like in all of the ways as entrepreneurs. Um, and then that becomes very beneficial to all of our clients too,
So
right? To
much.
be
Yeah.
able to have that access. And
Yeah.
so it's been so fun to see that morph into what it has morphed into.
Morph is a good word too, because unexplainable, but yet explainable.
Right, right. Like, I mean, I know you were like, I wasn't here for all these things. You have all these things built. And then I remember when we were talking and
Yeah.
we went down the timeline, I was like, no, you were there for that. I was like, you were like, oh, wait, I was
It
there for
was
that.
a fun. Like,
I
dang.
was there for
Yeah.
that.
It's like
Like, yeah,
watching Google and Facebook in action. That's like you're telling everybody the ground floor, but I was seeing going back like, oh yeah, I remember when just a few of us in the garage, and we
yeah,
were building something. Now
exactly.
look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I love that we're thriving. We have now 18
Yeah.
collaborative partners as a part of
Wow.
the community.
Mm, mm, mm. And
Such a
still growing.
And still growing,
Yeah.
right? There are a few people who are waiting in the wings for their turn to populate their, to launch their communities as well as a
Yeah.
part of the collaborative. And so that has been a welcome change,
Mhm.
but very, very interesting. So, what because we always want to stay inspired. So it's not always like
Yeah.
joy, right? Even though we like to stay in that joy space. But
Mhm.
like, what was the hardest part about your entrepreneurial journey before
Mhm.
you experienced this kind of collaboration?
Ooh, Lord, where to start? I'll start with thinking I had to know everything and I had to have everything done before I could do something.
Hmm.
That was one hard part. And then being by myself doing it, thinking that I was unique, that nobody else was going through the same things that I was going through, and that somebody else was doing it better. And if I could just find that person and they could show me how to do it the way they did it, and just like wanting everything to be easy and quick,
Mm,
and trying to find all the shortcuts was the
yeah.
hardest part for me. Is trying to find shortcuts before I realized the process. I used to hate that word. Remember, I used to tell you like I hate the damn word. I hate the damn word process, but not realizing that it is a process. But it didn't have to be the process I thought it had to be. So it still was a process, but this process is not easy, but it's simple.
Mm,
And so not knowing that was the hardest part for me, thinking that it
yeah.
had to be hard, thinking that I had to, you know, attend all these things and pay all this money, and like, 'cause that's what everybody else was doing. So getting out of that shift and that mindset was one of the most difficult things for me.
Yeah. I think in my process of building this,
Mm-hmm.
the hardest part now it's lovely that people say, "Oh, this is so genius the way that you're doing this." But for a while there, I was just crazy, right? There's like they always say it's the fine line between genius and crazy. And before people catch it, before people realized what I was trying to create, before they really caught the vision, I was just crazy. And I just had a handful of crazy people who were willing to go down that ride with me. Like they were just crazy enough to like ride that ride with me, right? But that was like really hard to kind of like do that like mentally by myself, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
mentally have to like hold off the belief of people telling me that's crazy. It's not done that way. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like you got to have a high
Yeah.
ticket offer and
Right. Yes.
you got to have
You got to wake up and you got to be working 18 to 24 hours and you got to do all these things and check
yeah,
all
and
these
you need to
boxes.
have a sales funnel and it needs to be on click funnels and you need to have like this other catchy thing and that other catchy thing and you need to be on all of the social medias and not just on the one of the social medias. And I'm on a lot of social media, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I'm not technically on all of them, right? And so I think that was like really hard. um I think that was like the hard part about it all. And really, the only thing I could do to overcome that was stick to my vision
Mm-hmm.
and like the core belief that I had, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
core belief was that everyone has the birthright to be healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled. Everyone.
Yeah.
And so I need to create a way for everyone to be able to access that, to be able to tap into that, to be able to connect to that. And it may not be everyone right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it has to be tangible enough for anyone and everyone to be able to do it as like the core principle. And so it helped me keep things really simple, although it is quite complex.
Yeah.
The world that I built is extremely complex. However, the individual pieces of it are super simple,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They're super simple. So the, evolve with me sessions where we're going through the incubator slides and incubating our lives, that is super simple, right? The complexity comes from the variety in which people are able to kind of tap into that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? The action planning courses themselves,
Super
super,
simple.
super simple,
Yeah.
right? But the complexity comes from how it's being so simple, everyone sees themselves in it like a mirror, right? And so there's multiple, the same question means something completely different to different people based on what they're going through
Yeah.
specifically. And the simplicity part was the kind of the hard part to like stick to.
It is.
But we got it. Even the conferences, right? Like the
Mhm.
conferences are actually very simple. Simple questions,
Yeah.
simple format. It's the same format. We don't do really anything crazy, but they have an extreme impact because it's easy to do while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That
easy.
that that simplicity is, I think, the challenge, the current challenge for a lot of us in the community is realizing that it's okay for it to be easy or
Yeah.
simple. It's because it's
Simple.
not easy. It's okay for it to be simple because we come in with these complex desires and all the programming of, but wait, I gotta make a presentation. Wait, I can't just
Yeah.
show up and and people tap into my expertise. I gotta do something, and that's been a challenge all by itself. Just
Yeah.
keeping it simple, sweetheart. And it's refreshing, but it's also like, wow,
Yeah.
refreshing, you know?
I I feel the fear mostly from, especially when people are coming into the space for the first time, and they're like getting ready to create their genius leadership through their community, and they're like, but I need, and I have all this, and, la, la, la. And I'm like, that's all too much. It's all too much right now. There will be a place for all of it, I promise you. But at this very second, it's all too much.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to pare back. And there's like this great fear that comes up. And I think it has to do with a lot of worthiness, right?
For sure. Oh yeah.
Right? Like, in order for me to be worth the amount of money someone is going to pay me, I need to have all these bells and whistles because that's what this industry has taught us, right? This
Yeah.
industry has taught us that if you're going to be a teacher or a coach or someone's going to pay you for your expertise, you need to have a very convoluted way about it in order, this mystery behind you in order for you to be worth
Yeah.
anything.
Right.
And the reality is what we create in all of our spaces. And I think what all of them have in common is the safety of being heard,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not about someone telling you what to do. It's you having a conversation with other people who are trying to figure it out too,
Yeah.
right? And even if someone else is like 5 steps past you, they're still in some version of figuring it out too.
That's what I love about the community is I get to see all versions of me. I get to see where I was, I get to see where I am, and I get to see the potential where I get to go. And
Yeah,
being able to support people in all those ways and be supported in all those ways has been just life changing. It's just it's like having the three mirrors and like, oh, okay, oh, okay, and then looking back at a couple of times, like, okay, I remember, visit a little bit, and then come back to where I am and looking along left and side of you, left and right of you to support
yeah,
other people. Yeah.
that is a lovely aspect of it, and especially now that we have young
Imagine.
ones.
Yeah,
young ones coming into the community.
I know.
It's a lot of that now, right? We have people who are senior who are in the community,
Yeah.
um, who are in their third or fourth career, right?
Yeah.
Like they're in their passion projects of it all. And then we have the young entrepreneurs coming in now to fast and furious, thanks to what you are doing.
Yeah.
So
This
it is becoming like a true
tribe of like,
tribe of
yeah,
people. We have
it's a village.
David who's bringing that masculine energy in, so he has his group that
You have
is
David who has a
about
good balance of that masculine and feminine
masculine,
energy as
feminine.
a man to be able to
Yeah,
like both
he
of them.
calls it compassionate leadership.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that. And he's focused on helping men
Mhm.
become breeders of leaders,
Yep.
right? Being everyone to have their own self leadership and for them to be compassionate in their leadership. And it's he openly says it's something he struggles with, right? It's like I know what I'm supposed to do, right? And it's a work to do it. And I think all of us in this community are kind of those kinds of leaders, especially the community builders. They're all those kinds of leaders where it's like, oh no, I struggle with this very thing that I am actually
Yes.
really good at, right? The cobbler's kids don't have shoes sometimes.
Right.
And I got to get these shoes on these kids so we could all walk down the street and not look a hot mess, right? Like that. I love that we're all transparent that way.
Yes, extremely just honest
And
and
when
owner.
we like are at our wits end about something, it's not like, oh well, I can't say this in front of my client because then they won't respect me. Because it's almost like I can't tell you how many times Miss Marilyn was like, I love that you make mistakes. It makes me feel so much better. It makes me think like,
You're
okay,
human.
you know what? It's great. It's great that you're making mistakes and you're saying that you're making mistakes because then I go, okay, she's not perfect. She is a real human. Like it, and it allows me to know that I can be awesome in some of the ways that you are too, because I make mistakes, but you make mistakes too, and we're
Mhm.
all there. And I'm quick to tell y'all, like, it was me. I'm the fuck up in this situation. It was on me, right? Like I suck.
Yeah.
And I think modeling that for other people also allows them to go, you know what? I just sucked today. Today was the
Own it.
day.
Yeah.
Today was the day that I sucked, I'm sorry that I inconvenienced you in some sort of way. Um,
Wasn't
and
intentional.
and everyone's so cool about it. And they're just like, okay,
Yes.
no big deal. Okay, we all make mistakes. It's fine, right? Like it's just a really comfy place. Obviously, you and I can continue to talk for forever, but we only have 3 minutes left in the show. I don't know how that
I
happened.
don't know how that happened either.
So
I like that it was 5 minutes, now it's 27. Like the fuck?
what happened? I don't know. We're having a good time. We are bringing back our weekly show, so we're not going to do the Wednesdays and Thursdays like we did before, but we will be coming back to you every week with something that's happening in our community. We're working on format, so bear with us in our construction dust as we are coming together with this new space. You'll be meeting some of the new community members along this way. Uh, and Yo's been along for the ride for a long time, but there are so many new faces in our
Oh,
community that
so
are
good.
just amazing people, and so we can't wait to bring you more of them.
Yeah, tell me.
But there's a couple things that I definitely want to add. So I guess it's time for our announcements,
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 announcements.
announcements.
So we have a new community name. So Mink Life Motivation is still my company and will still exist as such, and so will the trainings be under that branch. But as a collective, we have a new name, and that is the Mingle Learning Collective. And this is the combination of all of these amazing thought leaders that we're bringing together in all kinds of aspects of life, business, branding, networking, finances, and spirituality. It is all coming together under this one umbrella. And one of the collaborations that we work on together is the conference series. And so I'm excited to say that we have another conference coming up this month. It's What's Next for Your business. And
Business.
that is coming up on February 22nd. And I can't wait for all of you to be a part of that. And look out for the challenges that we have going on as well. Those will be coming live to you right before the conference. So just want to sign up for those, or just check out this channel as well, and they'll be there. We have 34 conferences and events for the year. So brace
It
yourself.
was just January. It was just February.
It's just February. Brace yourself because there's so much for you to get involved in. But I want you to know, don't just stay here on this platform, wherever you're seeing this. Get involved. Click the buttons. Come
Yeah.
check us out.
Play with us.
We have over 30 events a week that you can come and play in and just see how this experience could work for you. So, you want to hang out with me and Yo? I mean, we have a good time. I'm just saying. You can come and hang out with us by going to MinkLife Motivation Live, or just put a message in this chat and say, "Hey, where do I go?" Or like, "I'm in, I want to be a part of what you're doing." And I will send you a link where you can come and play for free for a couple weeks just to kind of see if this is like, if we're your people. We might be too weird for you, and that's okay. We're
That's
good.
okay. Yeah.
Totally good with this not being your place, but if this is your place, if you are looking for, very specifically, if you are looking for a place where you can be seen and heard, where you can get real help by real people in real time. And if you are ready to not be alone in whatever it is you are trying to actually achieve, whether it's improving your lifestyle, or like making a business for yourself, or even be just bettering yourself professionally, right? Or maybe you have a brand that you're trying to figure out and you got to figure out this marketing thing. Or maybe it is that you really, really need to learn how to like network, or just like network with cool people who make sense to you. Your finances might be out of whack. You need some help there. Or maybe you're just like, you know what? I need a connection to my source, or to my, like, deep in my spirituality. We have someone in our community for you who will support you through that, and that's their zone of genius. That's their passion to help you with that one part. And there are so many of us who are willing and able to just be there to help you through whatever you're going through right now. So just remember, you do not have to do this alone. You can always come and hang out with us. And we will be there to be in full support of you. I am so appreciative of you, Yo, for coming and hanging out with me for a little while, live, outside, with all
Right.
the people watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with me.
Of course. Thank y'all for watching. Do everything she just said. Echo, ditto, cosign, whatever you need to hear. Come on, play. Just come on in and see it for yourself.
Absolutely.
Experience it for yourself.
Experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that is us. We're done for the day. I'm going to go hang out with all the rest of the folks. Look at that. Yo, sending you love as usual.
You want to figure that out? You got to come ask me on the Zoom. You got to come.
There you go. There you go. Come hang out in our virtual office. And with that, we're going to say goodbye. We'll see you next time.